All right, everyone. Hey, welcome back. We are doing our last part for our bike park series, part 4, which I think we're not sure we're going to name it. Maybe like leveling up on your mountain bike at a bike park or getting more advanced. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But as you guys know, we've got Britt and Becca with us, the bike park pros. And I'm going to question them
Pros. I use
today
that for
on
myself. Pros.
pros. Well, you are in my book. I mean,
I'm
geez.
referencing that just to myself here. Pros.
um yeah, so we've talked about a lot in these last 3 series, everything from the beginner, what you need to know, and how to read a trail map to, even suspension we touched on a little bit, trail etiquette, all the good stuff. So if you guys haven't seen any of those videos, I'm going to put a little link above so you can go and see that, and also below in the description I'll have links for you to go back and watch some of those. But so today we're going to talk about getting more advanced. And I know that chest protectors are one, and neck braces, we did discuss it. And again, for y'all listening, I'm going to put it on this side now. Go check that one out. But let's kind of just for a few minutes, you both wear chest protectors, right? When you're riding parks.
Yes. I did
And
not have one when I started, but now I do not ride without it if I'm at a park.
Same.
yeah, I remember Becca saying that to me one time too. Did I just call you Rebecca or did I call you Becca?
If you would have called me Rebecca, my spidey senses would have tingled and I would have freaked out because I would have thought I was in trouble. So I don't think you said
That's awesome.
I don't think you said that, but who knows?
Anyway, yeah, I remember you and I, Becca, talking a while ago, and you say you don't really feel comfortable without one as well. So I'm sure it's the same for you, Britt. Do either
Once
of
you
you wear
start, you
neck
don't want to
braces?
go back.
Yeah,
because you feel
exactly.
that
Exactly.
safety net, right? It's like that protection on your body.
Yeah.
So let's touch a little bit on neck braces. We did touch on it, I think, the last one. And remind me, neither you guys don't wear one, right? The neck braces.
No.
Okay. And did you want to give a little context why you guys chose not to?
For me personally, I'm not doing anything that I deem neck brace worthy quite yet.
Okay.
I'm a more cautious downhill rider. Like I will ride up to a feature 10 times before I try to hit it, and I will try to find the next smallest thing before I'll go to the bigger feature.
Makes sense.
I focus a lot on like progression. I'm not like a send it, YOLO kind of rider.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I've needed one necessarily. And I also, there's a lot of debate out there on like, do they help more than they hurt in some situations? Because a lot of people do break their collarbones if they have them on. So there's trade-offs like everything else.
Yeah. What about you,
Yeah.
Becca?
I agree completely with what Britt was saying. My chest protector is a Liat, and I feel like Liat kind of has the market for neck braces in mountain biking. I don't know that with 100% certainty, but I feel like they kind of have the majority of the market from what I've seen. I've looked into them, but again, like what Britt was saying, I don't think it really fits my needs right now. I don't find myself going off of, I don't know, greater than 10-foot drops max. And I don't
No
find
big
myself
deal.
doing pretty aggressive. I'm overestimating. I'm overestimating there, but I don't find myself doing a ton of like free ride type style where I'm just winging it off some blind cliff. Like to me, and I know it's not this automatic jump, but to me, I associate neck braces with more of the riding ability when you're getting up there of like, not rampage style, but that's kind of like the highest level of it, And
Yeah.
that's not how I ride. But I do know a lot of racers that wear neck braces. And yeah, there is always kind of like, it seems like there's this debate of, do they help? Do they hinder? And I'm not here to say or disprove either of it. I think whatever you feel the most comfortable and confident in, no matter what type of terrain you're riding in, that's the most important thing, because obviously a broken collarbone is going to be way better of an outcome than say a possible broken fracture, in your neck. So I think it's really like, okay, if you find yourself going further, you want to push yourself a bit further, you're doing some things that are more aggressive or bigger, hey, if it makes you feel better, that's great. That's kind of how I'm with the chest protector now. Anything that I take a lift up or requires more of that,
you need a protection.
I'm doing the chest protector.
That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
we both wear Liat chest protectors, and I strategically, at least for me, I chose that one because it is neck brace compatible, because Liat
Yep.
does make they take over, the neck brace market. So I
Yeah.
bought that one specifically thinking like, well, if I ever do decide to wear one, I won't have to use a different chest protector, like it'll all integrate flawlessly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Smart. That's really smart. I think I need to get one too. That's for the next episode. Okay. Yeah, maybe Becca and I will do like a uh what do we call it, Becca? Like a pads and protection podcast when you're
Yes.
here, like a video when
Yes.
you're here next month.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that, people. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're getting more advanced. We're on the trail. We're doing double black diamonds. In my head, I am anyway. What happens, not if, but when I crash? Because it's going to happen, whether it's a bad crash or whatever. Like, you're going to take a spill on the trail. Have you guys ever fallen when you're alone? Like, just yourselves riding?
I have not anything where I like broke a bone or anything, thankfully. If I'm alone, I'm usually not gonna, be doing stuff as crazy or pushing myself as hard. And if I'm at a park, even if I'm by myself, I never necessarily feel like I'm alone because there's always going to be somebody else
Mm-hmm.
coming down the trail like very shortly after me. So
Right.
that gives me like a little bit of a safety net. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
riding like my local trails alone, I might not, do something that's a little riskier just to be safe.
Yeah, yeah. And what happens, like, what would you do, Britt, if you just crash? Like, what's the
Mhm.
protocol? Do you have to assess how busy the trail is, or do you just take us through your process of like how you try to be cautious
Yeah,
on the
so
trail?
especially if I'm at a bike park and I crash, my number one concern is like don't get more injured by staying in the trail if I'm able to get out of the trail on my own. Because people will come flying down really fast. They might not see me. I
Yeah.
might be on, the backside of a jump, or I might be in a berm or something and they can't see me that easily. So that's always like my number one instinct is to just like get back up as fast as I can. And
Yeah.
then
Mm-hmm.
I will like drag my bike off and then I'll do like my little self assessment. Obviously, if I think I have like a spinal injury or something, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thankfully, I have not run into that situation. But yeah, if it's like a pretty minor to like medium crash, I'm immediately trying to get off the trail, pull my bike off, make
Yeah.
sure that anybody behind me can see that I am there and that they're not going to hit me.
Yeah, that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart. Becca, I know you unfortunately have your most recent one was tearing up your ACL on the trail. So what happened
Sure
when you cried?
was.
Like, what's your process?
So my process when I'm writing parks, I if I've never attended a park by myself. Like if I'm doing a run, it might be just be a run by myself, but I've never like spent a day just on my own at a park. That's I think a conversation maybe more to be had about your skill level or always
Yeah.
at least having some sort of safety net in place of like someone to check in with or something. But so I've done a couple runs by myself at bike parks and I've been fine at those, and I've done rides at my local trails where I've had crashes. None have been more than like a scrape at this or that, but kind of more just like get up, get yourself out of the way.
Yeah,
But very
yeah.
similar to what Britt was saying is you want to safely get yourself out of harm's way
Mm.
quickly, and obviously the first thing is your body's adrenaline is going to tell you that you're fine, like off the bat.
Yeah, for
usually,
sure.
You'll
usually.
get up real fast.
Yeah.
Yes. And
I'm good.
and for
I'm good.
me, it's kind of a running joke that like before I've even hit the ground, I'm saying like I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. And you might not be fine. So
Mhm.
while it is important, I think, to ensure that you are getting off the trail, someone is giving a heads up to maybe other riders coming down, like, hey, heads up, rider down. Rider down is a great thing to yell out into the void, even if you don't know if someone's bombing down behind you or not.
Right.
Rider down. Get yourself off
Smart.
to the side of the trail. And if there is no one immediately around you, don't and people are, eventually do come up to you, don't be afraid to ask for help, even if you're not sure.
Mhm.
Everyone has found themselves not rubber side down. Everybody has. Everyone that's ridden a bike park has found themselves in that scenario. And it's very
Yeah.
important that we look out for each other. So I think it's important to ask for help, even if you're not sure like
100%.
what to do next.
So, when would you say that you need to call it quits for the day? So you've been writing and shredding and having an amazing time. Say you kind of took a little tumble, but you feel okay and you want to keep pushing yourselves. Like, at what point do you just like call it quits and like, okay, I'm done for the day. I need to relax and take a beat.
For me, if I have a crash that involves me hitting my head in any way, I usually call it quits.
Yes, smart.
I very much err on the side of caution with my brain. And even
Everyone should.
Yeah, and even like I pre-rode for a race about 6 weeks ago now, and I crashed during my practice run, and I got really bad whiplash. And one of my friends was there; she's a nurse, and I was like, "Give me a concussion assessment right now. Like, I need to know, like, can I do this?" And it turned out I didn't have a concussion, but I did get whiplash. So that was like an extreme scenario where, because I had a race, I like did the one run, and then I did not ride for weeks after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I've seen a lot of people crash at bike parks, and the common thing for me is always like, did you get a concussion? And some people are like, oh, you're so like worried about them. And I am, but I also, have friends who have TBIs because of all the crashes they
Exactly
without stopping. So
I'm like, what? Your brain is like the most important thing of your body next to your heart, in my opinion. How do you not take that serious? Like, dude.
Yeah, I'm big on helmet replacements, all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So my question for Becca now is, and I remember you telling me this, but I want you to tell everyone who's watching and or listening. When you tore up your ACL, and I've seen the video and I wish we could play it here. I'm going to find a way to play it. You're going to send it to me again.
And I think I have,
I know you tried to tough it out, right? You iced it, you went back, you're a nurse, you know exactly what to do in that instance. But you pushed it, didn't you? A little bit? Tiny bit?
I did.
Come on.
I did. No, I 100% did. And something that I have learned a lot in what my recovery off season is how important it is to listen to your gut, not listen to your heart. Because for me, my heart is always going to be like, get back out there and ride, because that's all I want to do. I want to ride.
Right.
And especially these injuries that aren't so black and white of saying like, okay, in this case, I clearly did not hit my head. It was very low speed, all this stuff. So looking at it externally, it would just kind of be like, oh, okay, hop back up, carry on, whatever.
Right.
But I think it's so important to kind of, as you're progressing through bike parks and as your skills begin to develop, get a sense for your gut and your gut vibes, because it's really important to listen to that and not try to quiet that inner monologue. And there's one thing to be said of like, okay, push yourself a little bit outside of your comfort level when it comes to maybe tackling a skill that you've been practicing. I'm not talking about that, but like when there's that little part of you that says you got to chill out and you don't listen to it, that's when something's going to come back and make it even worse. So in this case,
I think that's the hardest thing too.
It is hard. And it's something that I truly don't think I've learned how to really listen to until this most recent recovery. But I crashed. I felt this like instant, immediate, super sharp pain in my knee, and then it slowly went away. I stood up, my knee buckled, which I'm like, well, that's not supposed to happen.
That's the tell. I've heard that's the tell when you have like a ACL thing.
I tried to ride the next segment and I really couldn't. And I was like, okay, that's it. And I just took the fire road down and that was it. So it's important don't make it worse. Don't make it worse.
Yeah, because then it's going to make it worse in the long run, recovery wise, and or surgery and or all the myriad of things that come with it. So that's really good advice from both of you. Like, listen to your gut.
Yep. And especially like what Britt was saying, anything that is potentially involving your head, look at your helmet. Yeah. Is there any sort of damage, dent, scrape, whatever? Those symptoms can take a long time to develop.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
adrenaline is designed to make you feel fine off the bat. Take
Right.
it easy.
Right.
It's better just to chill than to do something to make it
Yeah.
worse.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You took it right out of my mouth. Be careful with brain injuries, with head
Mhm.
injuries.
Yeah.
When I had my little spill about a month ago, I went down in a way to where when I went down, like I heard the little visor on my
Mhm.
helmet scrape.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
was like, crap, did I hit my head? Like, what just happened? And my helmet looked fine. Like, nothing happened to it. It wasn't dented. It was just like on the inner part of it. But I freaked out for a second. I was like, did I hit my head? I didn't, thankfully. But that's always the scary thing.
Mhm.
So, with that said, going into, obviously as you take it up a notch and you get more advanced, you're going to experience crashes. So, it's a really good thing what you said about how to deal with that. But so for people that want to start really taking it up a notch and they want to do a race, I have that goal in the future for myself just to prove to myself that I could do it. Britt, you're racing right now, right? You're doing some enduro races. So tell us a little bit about like how you got into it and, is it as scary as it sounds? Like, because I'm a little intimidated by some enduro stuff.
So I got into it because there's not a lot of women that ride downhill where I live, and I came across this community of women based out of Atlanta that all love the same kind of riding I do, and they're on a team, and so I started riding with them, meeting up with them, and now I'm on that
Nice.
team, and it's super fun.
Yay.
But if you are worried about it being too hard or scary, I promise it's not. There is an amateur category for a reason.
Ooh.
So,
All right.
yeah, and I know at least like the series that I did last year and I'm doing this year is Downhill Southeast. So it's all up the East
Mhm.
Coast. I haven't done all the races this year because I've spent a lot of money lately, but
It happens.
basically there's a beginner women category. You can do it with a dual crown bike, like a downhill bike, or a single crown bike. And
Okay.
if you race in the amateur beginner category, they are not on the same course as the pro riders. So
Mhm.
you're not
Okay.
doing like the crazy mandatory gaps, like none of that. There's always going to be a ride around. And so anyone can do it.
Yep.
To me, the scariest part was just the start because it's an individual start. You're on a start gate, which feels
Yeah.
really scary if you've never done one because it feels
Very
Uh-huh.
official.
so
Yep.
legit, I'm like, oh man, I
Mhm.
shouldn't be here. Like
Well,
this is too
yeah,
real.
because I was gonna say, what's intimidating? The fact that it's steep right off the bat, or that it's just official? But like you're saying, it's because it's like an official race. You're
Yeah, like yeah, you've got
competing.
the
Mhm.
timer that you can see. It starts beeping, and the beeps get faster, and you have to go, and it's yeah, and then you're worried about like, is the person behind me going to catch me?
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
they stagger you. Usually, it's a 30-second gap. So on a downhill length
Oh.
course, it's pretty rare, if you're going to get past or pass somebody.
Building on what Britt was saying, there's a ton of resources out there if you're thinking about getting into racing. And I mean,
Yes.
anyone that's listening, watching, you can reach out to any of us here. I will help you find the resources. Um, I know Britt, Mia, we can all help you. A lot of bike parks have like a weekly race night, like kind of a
Mm-hmm.
chill, unofficial. You're not really, racing for big prizes or something. They have just kind of small stuff. So that might be a fun way for people to give it a shot, to see how it feels, see what you think about it. But I know a lot of women that have gotten into it recently. I think it's awesome.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, I think there's a lot more clinics popping up run by both,
Mm-hmm.
unisex male female clinics, but I know there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more women clinics doing like drop clinics and racing
Mm-hmm.
clinics. So what we're going to do is also put this information on our website within the series of like, here's some resources where you guys can reach out to people about these types of questions. Because I don't know about you all, but I mean, you guys were saying, I think we talked offline where you're both saying that you've taken drop clinics before for
Mm-hmm.
parks, right? Like you found
Yeah.
that super beneficial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing for me with taking a clinic when it comes to downhill is that I need the repetitiveness and I need to be able to like lock the skill in a controlled
Yeah.
environment so that I can apply it to different trails or drops that might have a slightly different entrance or exit, because
Right.
they're all going to be a little different. And so having that very fundamental understanding of what you're doing, especially with jumps, because I love to jump. But getting
Yeah.
like the jump timing down takes a long time. It's something that you really probably are better off having somebody that can like film you and give you instant feedback and instruct
Right.
you and like, explain it in a way that works for you. Because if you just go out there and try to figure it out on your own, it might not end well, because those are
And you
kind
can
of
also
higher consequence things.
Yeah, sorry. And you can also pick up bad habits too, right? And that's kind of
Yes.
difficult to unlearn some bad habits, as
Oh,
we've found out
Uh-huh.
and
from talking to our coaches.
I think that's something that I've been working through now for a while. And before we started recording, Britt and I found out that we've taken clinics through some of the same organizations. So we've both taken a
Mhm.
clinic through Kathy at Dirt Rock and Root, and there's a ton of stuff out there that's available. It's almost like I didn't know this was an option until I began to find them. But
Mhm.
for me, I've been riding bikes, mountain biking for 12 or so years, but then downhill only in the most recent, like, year and a half, 2 years. I do still have to unlearn some, I don't want to call them bad habits, but habits that are not the same
Good
type of
habits.
skills you want to focus on when it comes to jumps. And I really, really wanted to learn how to jump and how to do drops. And I would be at my local trails sessioning some of these thoughts over and over and over and over again. And that's a great way to practice. Yes, like session practice. But
Right.
if I don't even know what I'm doing right versus doing wrong, I
Mhm.
had no way to know what felt like. Was that good? Was that bad? Am I clearing this? Am I whatever?
Yeah, see,
It was
Yeah.
it made such a difference getting that
and I think
insight.
it's the instant feedback, what you guys are
Yes.
Yes.
saying too. Like, because when you do
Yes.
the clinic, it's that instant feedback. Someone's looking at you and saying how to adjust it, right?
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think even if you're experienced, it's still really good to always refresh
Oh,
and get a
huge.
refresher. I think that's
Absolutely.
totally what's missing for me, is doing that. I was bummed I missed the Sedona Mountain Bike Academy's drop clinic last month or earlier this month, but they'll have another one and we can hopefully do something with them when we're in Sedona next time. Britt, you're gonna
Yeah.
have to come the next
I
time the
know.
mountain bike festival comes. Like, you're gonna be there.
I know. I
It's
need
Yeah.
our little
to.
crew now. You're part of the
Yes.
crew. It's the three
Yeah.
of us. Like, you're gonna have to come.
Well, and I think when
Um,
we were talking to Amo about the clinics that she runs out in Sedona, about how there is always something to learn. So even
yeah,
Mhm.
feeling like okay, I've got this down, I've got this whatever, but I think continuing to have the option to take clinics, to take a
yeah,
lesson, work with other women, get that direct feedback. There's always a way to apply it to your writing. Always.
yeah.
Mhm.
And teaching is so hard that I really admire all these people that are coaches, because it's hard to do, and you need to have
Mm-hmm.
patience to teach
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
people stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, so clinics, private lessons, those are really, really good advice. And I guess that is the level up, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're getting really comfortable with bikes. You want to learn how to jump, you want to learn how to do other things. Clinics, private lessons, those are all really good things to do. Make sure you have the protective gear that you need. Learn how to treat yourself if you crash, which will happen. I'm sorry, everyone listening, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You're going to crash at some point, good or bad. It's going to happen if you
Mm-hmm.
haven't already.
And I think it's
um,
important to remember, this is something that I have struggled with for a while. Last year I really pushed myself pretty hard in terms of expanding my skills. And sometimes maybe I was pushing myself further than I should have. So this was kind of me finding out of like how to listen to my inner monologue, how to listen to my gut versus okay, pushing myself to try new things. I did crash a lot, and I was okay with that. But it's difficult when you kind of get feedback from people that, oh, you crash too much, or
ugh,
why are you doing this when you do that? I just want to like put it out there that if you can take even one thing away from every single crash or every single what you call like a negative experience on the bike, or oh my God, that was so horrible, I did terrible on that run,
right.
taking at least one thing away from that, then it's worth it. not that I want anybody to crash or that I want anyone to endure that, but crashing does not make you a bad rider.
No, and it's how you
No.
learn. And people need to just keep their opinions to yourself, because
Mm-hmm.
it's really annoying that it's like this judgmental factor of, well, you crash a lot, so you must not know what you're doing. It's like, no, that's
Mm-hmm.
not it. That's just me trying something new and learning. Next time I'm
Right.
not going to crash. Next time I washed out, or there was a route that I didn't see, or there was kitty litter and my back tire. Like, there's so many
Right.
variables with
Yeah.
all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff that if someone is criticizing you out on the trail and being a jerk, just that's not the person you should be riding with. I'm
Yeah.
just
Right.
going to say it. This is my
Or
personal
even just,
opinion.
or even
but
just like self,
you
that
need,
self-criticism. Like I was always,
and
and I
that's
still
fine.
something that I struggle with is like comparing myself to other riders or being too critical of myself, or crashing too much or this or that.
But
It's okay.
that happens in life regardless. That happens in
Mm-hmm.
life with everything you do. I'm going through that personally. You know that, Becca, with a bunch of other things. Like, it's tough to self-reflect and stop and be like, you can't compare yourself with other people. You're on completely different paths than other people.
Mhm.
Some people are just starting to learn to ride. Some people have been riding for 10, 15 years and they're still
Mm-hmm.
crashing and they're still learning. So
Right.
you gotta just remember, yes, be empathetic, but also you are doing what you love. And when you crash,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. Just like you guys said, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that you're having a good time and you're picking yourself up and you're pushing yourself to keep going. Like,
Right.
that's really it. And surround
Mhm.
yourself with people that are going to help you and fill you up, pull you up. I can't talk now because I'm so passionate about this.
Well, right. And just and use and be that same advocate for yourself, like
Exactly.
it's so easy to be critical of yourself and say, oh my God, I'm da 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 da, crashing, or I'm bad, or I'm this. No.
Yeah.
Crashing is not a reflection of your inability or to ride. It means that you're trying and that you're
Mhm.
learning and that you're growing. So that is something that I just want to
100%.
use, like, to encourage anyone out there. It's okay to crash. It's okay.
100%.
And I'm
Mhm.
actually sitting here thinking, like, I almost get nervous when I don't crash because I feel like I'm staying too safe, or I'm not pushing myself as hard, or
Oh,
like I need to
interesting.
like do, not that I want to crash, but if I go a long time without crashing, I start thinking like, am I playing it really safe right now? Like, could I be doing more? Like, what else can
Mhm.
I try? Can I try to do
That's a
this
great
bigger
point.
feature?
Wow.
So it
Yeah.
goes both ways, because I'm critical of
Yeah.
myself in staying too safe sometimes. Like, I know I just talked
Mhm.
about how I'm a very slow progressive rider, but I also like wish I had more of that fearlessness, to just try things more often and
Mhm.
crash, because that's part of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like that balance, right? I had never
Mhm.
thought about it like that.
That's
But
a great point.
sometimes another thing could be that maybe someone feels like they're invincible, so they're gonna keep doing it. And then one time they're
Mhm.
gonna just really take themselves out. So it's
Mhm.
always good to think back and be like, no, I'm doing what at my comfort level and I
Yeah.
am succeeding. So just try and stay there instead of pushing
Mhm.
yourself too much to then. That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about it like that. But you're doing great, Britt. You have a race
Yeah.
coming up. You're gonna
Deepka.
kick some butt.
Yes.
You're gonna do really well. We're
Yeah.
gonna post some stuff from Britt's race. So you guys
Yeah.
cheer on for her as she's doing it.
Yeah.
What category are you in, Britt?
Oh, I race Cat 2-3. It's combined. So it's
What does that
kinda,
mean? I have no
so
clue what that
Cat
means.
in cycling rules, Cat 3 is the beginner category for mountain biking.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So they lump Cat 2 and 3 together. Cat 1 races on the more advanced track that the pros race on, but their times are separated out from the pros.
Mhm.
But 2 and 3 women is where the party's at. We're all out there having a blast and supporting
Heck
each
yeah.
other, and we all
Yay.
ride together and make a whole weekend out of it.
That's so good. Oh, we need to come out there and do something out there with
Mhm.
you.
It's fun.
I think another
Oh,
really
so
great
much
way
fun.
to learn, or to, like, when you're on your learning journey, trying a new trail or repeating the same trail. I know a lot of people do this, especially with racing, is recording your time out there, right? So if you
Mhm.
have a GoPro or some sort
Yes.
of whatever you want to, use, record your rides.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to go back and look and say, oh wow, I'm going to try it this way this next time, or whatever, because you miss a lot and things happen so quickly when you're
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
So it's like if you crash or you wash out here or there, it's difficult to remember kind of what happens leading up to that. So I think
Yeah.
recording yourself as much as possible, having someone else that can record you, especially when
Mhm.
you're trying to take on new features, new components, definitely something to do. That being said, that I want to mention this, and I know we mentioned this before, if you are utilizing a GoPro or some device
Oh
on
yeah.
a chest mounted harness, so the GoPro that is mounted onto whatever that's on your
The
chest.
chesty.
Yes,
Yeah.
the chesty. Make sure that you are wearing a chest protector if that is how you're going to be recording, because that can be very,
Mhm.
very, very dangerous if you were to crash. That is a camera to your
Mhm.
sternum, break your ribs. Do not do that.
Well,
So
and
something to
worse.
think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we talked about in our chest protector video, which again I will link up for y'all up top. Meg and Kelly had that friend that she had like a collapsed
Mm-hmm.
liver or something, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Wow.
It was gnarly. Like this poor girl had such a bad accident and she wasn't wearing a chest protector where her chesty was with her GoPro, and she suffered a lot of internal injuries
Mm-hmm.
because of it.
Right. My
And that
husband's
scared
had
the crap out of me.
hematoma from his car keys in his pocket during a crash, and those are not anywhere as near as big as a
Yeah.
GoPro.
That's a really good point though, in general, just making sure that you're aware, because I have got a great picture. I have my big, huge iPhone and I had it in my pocket and I crashed.
Oh,
and
God.
my my
That was a
phone
bad
was
one.
curved, and it was like it like fit the shape of my thigh, and it almost looked like a roller went over it.
Wow.
And so be aware of what's in your pocket. Be
Be
aware.
aware.
Be aware of, like, yes, like, the chest protector component of it with a GoPro or whatever's on the chesty, but then also be aware where are your keys, my phone.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I
just
learned a
crazy
lot
with
from that.
keys. Like, I don't have keys.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my car doesn't require one. But that's like, I hate keys in my pockets. I was at work today. I was at my office and I need a little key fob to like get in and out. So it's just a tiny little circle thing. And I hated that in my pocket the whole time. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You ladies are amazing. Thanks for everyone for sticking around and listening to these two awesome pros give us some tips and advice on how to be safe out there on the trails when you're leveling up. You know what? I'm redefining pros. Okay. I don't even know what the definition of it is, but we're making it up. It's people that have an amazing time on the bike and that do it with unapologetically being yourself. And that's what you guys do. So I love it.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Like Becca and Britt was saying earlier, we're going to put all the information on the descriptions below. We're going to have tags up for all the other videos we've done so far. Thank you both so much. I'm looking forward to the next series we're going to put out. We don't know what it is yet, but we're going to do something else again.
So much.
And
yes.
also, we are going to drop a review that Britt did of Jared's Place, hopefully in the next week. So stick around for that too. She's got some really good footage that we're putting together. She did a little write-up for us. We got some photos. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, thank you guys. If there's any closing statements, anything you want to say to riders out there, now it's your time.
Get out there and try a park. We always want more women out there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Get out there and give it a shot. My first time there, I was on a cross-country bike with a half-lid helmet, clipping pedals. No idea what I was
Good for
doing,
you.
but I felt welcome and I found my place and I fell in love with it. So get yourself
And
out
you had
there.
fun.
Exactly. You have just as much of a right to be there as anybody else. So give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And on
because
that
women
note-
are still in the minority at parks, I can guarantee you, like, if I see a woman at a park, I am talking to her. I'm getting her name. I'm going to do a lap with
Oh,
her.
yeah.
I don't care if I've never
Oh,
met her.
yeah.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, that's how it works.
awesome.
Let's go, girls. Exactly.
All right, ladies, you're both awesome. Thank you again for taking the time to do this. Really, really appreciate it. Have a great night, and I'm sure we're going to talk in the next day or so.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See
Thanks,
you
Mia.
guys.
Bye.